I am developing something and attacking your piece. So me, I'm gaining a tempo. It's as simple as this. There is no other explanation of it. Welcome to Chesscape. Today I want to review 3 crucial concepts for you to improve and have your rating climb the ladder much faster. The first one is going to be the center. What is the center? The second one, what is a tempo? That's a good question. What does it mean when you say winning a tempo? And the third one is going to be development. A lot of grandmasters use this word, saying, I finished my development. What does it really mean, actually? This is what we're going to review today. So this is the first game I want to show you. We have white. We just played a move like knight f3, black response knight c6, and now we decide to play e3. Remember this. This is the center. By using the word center, chess players mean, there's the first concept. They mean the strategic march of the troops towards the border. And this is the border here. You can simply compare this to, let's say, the beginning of a war. Both armies try to reach the border as quickly as possible to penetrate into the enemy territory. If it's an army invasion, I have a question for you here. In a war, do you leave half of your army and join Netflix while the other half is fighting? No. You use the full force to invade. Well, this is exactly the same thing in chess. What you have in mind when you start a game is to use every single piece. And I said a piece, I didn't say a pawn. We don't consider a pawn move like a development if it's not taking the center. This is what I want you to put in your mind from today. If the move here that is just e3, the pawn is not in the center, this is not a development move and this is not a good development move. This is something that you have to keep in mind. So after this move, black play e5. So they play the correct strategy, which is putting a pawn on the center. And you will see that this is super important. We play knight c3, knight f6, and now they have a clear target. They want to play already a move like e4 here, and we don't have too many squares. We may have to go on h4, but actually we lose a piece very quickly. Let me show you this. If it was them to play knight h4 and just g5, and you lost a piece. So if they play a move like e4, we have to come back on g1, and we have a lack of development. The only reason is that we didn't play this move that is e4 to start with. You see how important it is to actually develop. Take the center with the pawns. Okay. After this move, they decide to play bishop c4. That is a bad move, but you're telling me, okay, I just developed my pieces and my minor pieces. I'm ready to castle with white, so I should be doing something fine. Actually, it's not, because I'm still going to be taking the center with black, attacking, winning a tempo on the bishop. What does it mean? It means I am developing something and attacking your piece. So me, I'm gaining a tempo. It's as simple as this. There is no other explanation of it. If I develop something and attack you, I'm winning a tempo because you have to move the second piece again a second time. So now they play bishop b3, and look how it goes. The reason is that you didn't put your pawns on e4 and d4. The issue is black are just invading, and this is extremely hard to play. This is already hard, I mean, for white. And a move like, for instance, knight g5 doesn't work. You may think, okay, I have this, and I can play this way, but actually, and give this piece, basically. But actually, it doesn't work because pawn takes e3, and if knight takes 7, yes, there is a fork between these two pieces, but you play simply queen e7, knight take, and now the knight is taken. And he doesn't have any square to go to actually escape. So we're going to end up with 2 pieces for the rook. Actually, we're just going to take on d2 and play a move like bishop e6 and one day castle. As simple as that. If he just takes on e6, queen take, and one day we can simply play a move like queen g8 and take the knight on h8. Anyway, so this is not sound opening for white. And let me go back to it. The only reason this happened is because we played this move e3 that didn't take the center. Black response is to attack you very clearly, putting their pawns in the center. So the pawns are not really doing the job. You see, if your pawn was actually on e4 here, it's not attacking really black position. The only thing that it's doing is that it avoids your pieces, like for instance the knight on f3, to be attacked by the black pawns. That's different. And then with your knight, for instance, you have to go to the wrong square. This is the biggest problem in this position. So that's the first example. Next time, you know that in this position, you're going to be playing a move like e4. You're not going to be playing a move like e3. Now it's a game that was played by Nimzovich against an amateur player. Only thing he did is to actually play without this rook. So consider that the rook is actually not on the chessboard because Nimzowitsch gave it for free, and he plays the game this way. So the game goes e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, totally normal move. So bishop c4, bishop c5, and now he goes c3, knight f6. Okay, he's targeting this pawn on e4. All the pieces are developed for black. As you can see, he's ready to castle. But now we have this advance by d4 that is a little bit troubling. And now it goes bishop b6. So think about this situation. Yes, all your minor pieces are out, but you don't have any pawn in the center. Yes, you're ready to castle, but I have the center here. You don't have it. Me, as in white. Okay, and I'm going to take advantage of it, so I'm going to push pawns. The knight cannot come on e5 because of my knight. The best square is a knight e7, and now I keep pushing. And this is how Nimzowitsch is taking advantage in this position. And now he's playing a move that is crazy, that is d6. So it's showing you how the pawns are going to disrupt the position. The reason why you put pawns in the center is to stop this kind of invasion. The issue is, if you let the pawns of the enemy come towards you in your territory, the issue is you can't develop your pieces optimally. Here after d6, take, and now knight take f2 was played by black. This is not the best move, but this is just to illustrate the concept. Remember, doesn't have this rook. This rook doesn't exist in the game. He's giving it for free because obviously he's the world champion and he's amazing. He plays the move queen b3. He gives the rook on h1. And after knight takes rook, bishop take f7, king f8, try to find the move that is the killer for white position, and after this black can just resign. Alright, the move here is bishop g5. And after this move, black resigned because there is nothing you can do. Look at this pawn. And especially, look at this pawn on d7 that stays here in the game that allowed basically the pawn to go and control these squares. And this is the problem. Do you understand? This illustrates why taking the center is extremely important to avoid actually losing space. Now, let's speak about the second concept, that is development. What does it mean? I want you to see the opening. Whenever you sit at a chessboard, you see it as a race. What do I mean by this? Let's say you are basically in a marathon, you decide to stop and have 1 liter of water because you're like super thirsty. What's gonna happen? Your performance is gonna be bad. That's the same thing in an opening. You can't really afford to lose tempo and to lose basically time, to waste time. Otherwise, your opponent will develop more pieces than you, will take space on the chessboard and just basically create a lot of trouble for you. So look at this, for instance, in this opening, it goes d4, d5, c4, which is the queen's gambit, and now black make the mistake to play the move knight f6. What is the issue with this? The issue is very simple. Now I'm thinking, how can I win a tempo? I win a tempo because when I take on d5, if you take with the knight, now I'm playing this move. I'm taking the center, but I'm also attacking the knight. So we come back to the same concept. So I'm winning a tempo. Basically pushing a pawn. So that's amazing for me, but you are playing the same piece again. So here, when you go, for instance, knight b6, you are 1 tempo down in this position, right? Actually, queen takes, I can still win a tempo by playing the move knight c3, and I'm attacking the queen on d5. So this is another problem. And you're going to have to move the queen again, let's say queen a5 or whatever, and then I'm playing this, and now you're a tempo down again, because you played the queen twice. So now I have 3 tempi, and you only have 2. I won a tempo against you by simply playing this. The best move in this position, instead of playing the move knight f6 here, was to actually defend with a pawn, because if I take on d5, you take with the pawn, and there is no move like e4 that is attacking a piece, whatever, let's say knight c3, now I can play whatever I want. You're not forcing me to play a move. So this is what happens, and this is how you should understand the opening. And now this is another example to actually illustrate it through these moves, which is the king's gambit, e4, e5, f4. And black decides to attack the pawn on e4 by playing knight f6. You take on e5, they take on e4. And you have to be careful here. You can't really attack the knight. You have to play the move knight f3. That is the best move because it's controlling this move, queen h4. I can show you. If you play another move, let's say you play, I don't know, like something like d3, for instance, you're losing to queen h4 because on g3 there is knight take g3 and there is this attack on the rook, right? So after take, you play knight f3. And now he plays knight c6. And look how we're going to win tempi here. It's by playing d3, we're developing, attacking the knight retreats on c5, we continue, d4, actually attacking again the knight, he comes back, and we continue. This is how we do it. And now the knight doesn't have really a choice, but maybe go back here on b8. And as you can see, you can play two moves here, either bishop d3, that's a development move, attacking again and winning a tempo on the knight, or you can play a move like something like knight b2. Knight b2 is a good move as well. This knight went on f6, then on e4, then on c5, and then came back. So there's 4 moves. But I only play one time knight d2. If I exchange a piece against my opponent that he moved in the opening more times than I did, I'm like kind of consuming his tempi. This is how it works. Because now if he takes, for instance, bishop take, look at the position. You're like 4, 5, 6 tempi ahead because the pawns went like this and this one went like this. Then you have the knight and the bishop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can still count. You see this? You're 6 tempi ahead. Now black's position is going to be really in trouble. Most likely he's already losing here, actually, even though he has all his pieces that are at home and no real weaknesses. So you have to be careful in this kind of things. Do not play this way and lose a tempo in the opening.